Hey everybody, what's up? Tim with today's SCE. Hope wherever you're at, you are beyond awesome and crushing it. And thank you so much for watching. Title for today's shoot is Killing Off Worry. And if you are part of the human race, every single day, if not sometimes every single hour, we have the ability to jump into worry. And we are tempted to worry, and we have the opportunities to worry, and that's never gonna stop. But if we apply the tools that we're gonna talk about today, you can shut down worry, you can lock it down, and you can kill it off to the point where worry no longer comes calling as much as it did. And when it does, you're gonna be able to kill it off and absolutely blow it out of the water. Right now, I'm on a swing in a park, and I love swinging, but swinging gets you nowhere. And I can sit here and swing all day and put tons of time and energy into swinging, but if I expect that it's going to take me someplace, I'm sadly mistaken, because swinging has you put in a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort, but it gets you nowhere. And worry is the same way. When we worry, all we do is go around in circles, and worry is really meditation on what we don't want. It's meditation on a non-desired result. It is a manifestation of fear, but it's at a really, really low level. But we sit and we worry and we worry and we worry and we try to process things and we think about them and think about them and the what ifs and the what ifs and the what ifs. And they totally lock us down and they can chain us. And some people are absolutely dominated by worry to the point where it consumes all of their days. And even if it takes up an hour or two, it can absolutely crush you and produce no result and leave you far worse off than it found you. So what are the tools we can use? What do we need to do to break free of this cycle of worry where we're putting all this time and energy into it, like I'm swinging right now, yet going nowhere? Well, the first thing we have to do is decide to get up off the swing. And here's the thing, the way we get up off the swing, the way we get out of worry is to take action, because action kills off worry, action kills off fear. Because when we take action, we gain our power back, we gain ownership back, and we now are more proactive as opposed to being reactive. So action is always the way out of fear and worry. So what are the things that we can do to shut down worry? Well, we've talked a lot about them. Deep breathing is a great exercise. The 4-cycle breathing that we talked about before to calm yourself and center yourself, a great way to get out of worry. Another great way to get out of worry is through meditation and prayer. Absolutely shuts worry down in its tracks. We also talked about positive self-talk, that by speaking out loud to ourselves and talking about the desired result as opposed to what we're afraid of happening is another way to shut down worry. Another great way to shut down worry is through visualization. We start to see ourselves successfully navigating through whatever it is that we're struggling with, and that can be extremely beneficial. And then another way to shut down worry is, a lot of times we worry because something looks so huge, but if we break it down into its smallest parts and we attack those single parts one at a time, just by taking one action after one action and getting the small successes, we break the whole down into the least parts and we are able to walk through it that way. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what we're talking about here. So here's another strategy that I found is really, really useful to shut down worry. And it's going to sound counterintuitive, but it actually is really effective. And it's called contingency planning. So a lot of times we do everything we can to avoid worry. We run from it, we don't want to think about it, but we let it hold us mentally hostage, although we don't really work toward any kind of outcome. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest, instead of running away from the thought of what you're worried about, step into it and say, okay, what if this actually does happen? What if the worst case scenario does come about? What if what I'm afraid of does manifest and show up? What am I going to do? And here's the secret. Start to put an action plan together of what you would do if the worst case scenario hits. Think of the top 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 actions you would take if the worst case scenario hits. And the reason why this is so helpful is because a lot of times worry is based around ambiguity and conjecture. And the fear of what could happen and what might happen a lot of times is more powerful than if the worst actually did happen. And we're trying to fight these mental air castles that don't even exist, and there's not a lot of substance to them, but that uncertainty, that non-clarity, that ambiguity is oftentimes what is so frustrating and so terrifying and why we worry. And we just end up running around in circles, not really processing anything in particular, but dealing with these mental air castles. But if you start to say, I'm going to come up with a contingency plan that if the worst case scenario does happen, this is what I'm going to do, you now let the air out of that mental air castle, because you've now brought it back into the terms of reality. You can now see exactly what you're looking at. It takes away all the uncertainty. It takes away all those mental boogeymen that we build that a lot of times are even greater. You're looking at things for exactly what they are, and you now have a plan as to how to deal with it. And once you have a plan as to how to deal with it, you now have some certainty. You put control back in your court, and you now feel empowered because you know what you're going to do if that hits. And a lot of times worrying is simply focusing on, I don't know what I'm going to do if it's going to hit. I don't know what I'm going to do if the worst case scenario happens. But by putting that contingency plan in place, planning for that worst case scenario, thinking of 1, 3, 5, 10 things that you can do, just lets the air out of worry. And it doesn't, it shows itself for what it is. It's oftentimes not a big a deal as what we make it out to be. And by preparing for it, we now have a plan. Now, we still don't want it to show up. We don't believe it's going to occur. We don't believe we're going to have to deal with it. I don't ever want to focus on that. But if it does hit, you know exactly what you're going to do. You have a plan in place. You now have some certainty where none existed. So that contingency planning is huge. As opposed to running away from worry, you step into it and you plan exactly what you're going to do if it's going to hit. And then if it hits, you know what you're going to do. And it doesn't work out oftentimes to be as bad as it seems. And you combine that with the other things we talked about, and you now have a comprehensive plan to deal with any fear or worry that comes along. And as you practice those, you're going to get better and better so that when worry does hit, you're going to be able to kick it in the tail and send it running. So to kill off worry, contingency planning is a great tool in combination with the others. So this is Tim from the LV, hoping you found this helpful. Have an awesome, awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Kill off your worry and become everything that you're meant to be and everything that you know you want to be, because you have the ability to do it, because you are awesome. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.